All right, our white bean ragu, we're going to use some Italian cannelli beans. All right, I'm going to drain those. Those are two 12-ounce jars. I'm going to drain and rinse those. I got my mirepoix, my carrot, celery, onion, and a little bit of tomato product. I'm using what's called a pepperata. I'll explain that later. So for the onion, I want to do a large dice, maybe about 1/4-inch pieces. Okay. Ideally, I want the veggies about the same size as the white bean. I think that's a nice professional look when the veggies that are garnishing something are the same size. So I'm going to try to get these in about 1/4-inch cubes, which is really close to the size of those white cannelli beans. All right, and the same with the celery. So once my mirepoix, and mirepoix is just the fancy culinary term for the aromatic veggies, carrot, celery, onion. Once my mirepoix is chopped, we are going to sweat that or saute it in a medium heat pan here. This is a 4-quart pot. So I put a couple glugs of olive oil in there, about 2 tablespoons. And on medium heat, I just want you to sweat those down for about 5 minutes before we add anything else. Okay? You don't need to put color on them. I don't want them brown really. All right, so about 5-6 minutes on a medium heat, and those will just start to soften and just start to get tender. Now at that point, 5 minutes later, I'm going to add 3 cloves of chopped garlic. I did not use the press this time. Just chopped it with a knife. Okay, give that a stir. Now while that garlic is flavoring that olive oil and mirepoix mixture, I'm going to go grab my salt and pepper. This time I decided to go with a ground black pepper. Another variation on this, if you want to use a red pepper flake, really nice, a little spicier, or a combination. So whatever you like. 2 really nice sized pinches of salt. And this is definitely a dish you got to taste and adjust the salt later. Those white beans really, they're bland to begin with, and they really suck up a lot of salt. So make sure you're tasting this as you go. As far as an herb here, I'm going to go real simple. Instead of adding a whole bunch of different dry herbs, I'm going to use my famous herb de Provence. You've heard me talk about this in other clips probably. That's that southern French herb mix, rosemary, savory, marjoram, chervil, a little lavender. Beautiful with beans and dish like this. Perfect choice. So I'm going to stir in my about a 1/2 teaspoon herb de Provence. And that's pretty much it for flavorings. Now what we're going to do before we add the beans, we are going to simmer this with just enough chicken stock to cover. All right, I don't want this to be too soupy. You're going to see later when I ladle this on the plate how it kind of spreads out a little bit, but it's not really too loose. So just barely cover that and simmer that for 5 minutes, and then you're going to add your beans. So we're going to give that a little head start with the chicken stock again, just enough to cover, and then you're going to add your beans. Now be gentle, don't be crushing these beans. All right, if you want it to look nice, you want to leave the beans nice and whole. And then the last of our ingredients here, 1 bay leaf. That was kind of a small one, but that's fine. And 2 nice rounded spoons of any kind of tomato product. Now I'm using what's called a pepperata, which is just kind of a roasted red pepper and tomato sauce. Any kind of diced tomato out of a can. Hey, if you got a fresh tomato from the garden, chop that up, throw it in. It would be beautiful. But that little bit of tomato, nice little acid, counterbalancing the sweetness of the mirepoix, I think is a nice combination. Now I just want you to put that on low and just simmer it till everything's tender and all those flavors just come together. Maybe 10-15 minutes. All right. After 10-15 minutes, I checked. Now the carrot is probably going to take the longest, so I made sure that was tender, and it was. I shave a whole bunch of parsley, and by shave, I just taken a sharp knife, like a 45-degree angle, and just slicing the leaves right off the stems. I don't pick it all apart. It takes too long. So that's a little chef trick. So I shaved all the leaves off and just gave that a nice chop. And again, don't go too fine on that. I want to see some parsley when I stir this in. I don't want it all just like a dust. And you notice I'm using a folding technique here because I don't want to break up the beans. I want it to be just come together without, I don't want any crushed beans. Again, I don't want it to look like a bean soup. All right, to finish this off, I put a couple ladles on a plate here. And again, check out the consistency. Not too soupy, just enough liquid to moisten it all and just make it beautiful underneath. This roasted lamb shank is what I served it with this time. Anything tastes good on top of this stuff, believe me. Half chicken grilled, a piece of fish, almost anything. So I hope you give this a try. Enjoy.